That's great.
There we go. Thank you so much, Junye. You saved
Yeah,
me.
and I will monitor the chat so you can focus on the presentation. I will just
Okay,
ask the
thank you
question
very
follow up.
much. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Great. So let's start again. Right. Good afternoon for everyone in the afternoon time zones. Welcome to the Qiskit Advocate Program Information Session. So today we're going to have three speakers. Sahar, who is a Qiskit advocate from Tunisia. She joined the program last year. So she will speak later in the session about her path to joining the program and what she has experienced over the past year as being a Qiskit advocate. Then we've also got Junye, whose voice you heard just now, reminding me to press record. He is my colleague here at IBM. He is a Qiskit advocate. He's also an IBM quantum developer advocate. And he will be speaking to the program and the benefits that you can receive and the fantastic mentorship program that we have for Qiskit advocates. And then there's myself, Gemma. I am also a part of IBM. I'm a community advocate. I'm based here in South Africa. Right, so hopefully between the three of us, we can answer all of your questions about the Qiskit Advocate program. Now, Junye wrote a fantastic blog when he joined the Advocate program. And I pulled this quote from it because I think it speaks wonderfully to what this program is. And as an advocate, you will join the most passionate group of people in quantum computing. And every single advocate that I have interacted with, I can say this is 100% true. People are passionate not just about quantum computing, but about the community as a whole, which is a fantastic group to be part of as this community, as quantum computing grows and grows. Now, the current advocates, we've got 321 advocates spread across the country, across the world, and sitting in 38 countries. So all of those purple countries there have at least one Qiskit advocate sitting in them. Now, just to highlight a few of our advocates, we've got Sahar in Canada, we've got Maria in the UK, Alejandro in Colombia, Farai from Zimbabwe, Anna from Australia, and Billy sitting in Singapore, which is absolutely just, 6 of our 321 amazing advocates. So if you join the program, if you go through all the effort of applying, putting together an incredible application, and you are lucky enough to have been selected, what are the benefits of joining this program? Well, number one, network. So you get to attend monthly meetup session with the other advocates. You are able to join private Slack channels, and you're just now part of this incredible community, exclusive community that we were speaking to Sahar earlier today, and she was at a hackathon, and a lot of the advocates were able to meet up for the first time in person. And it was just so exciting for them to be able to meet in person, to interact after having done so online for so long. There, as an advocate, you're able to ask questions to members of the Qiskit core team. You can find a mentor through the mentorship program. Junye will speak more on the program itself later. Recognition, you get a fantastic badge that you can link on your LinkedIn page that you can tweet about and brag about, and you are officially known as a member of the Advocate program, which is exciting. And then you get invited to global events. So obviously the past couple of years, there haven't been so many in-person events, but you're definitely invited to the online events. We have developed some online programs that are exclusive to the advocates. And as the world starts to open up, we will start to see more in-person events. So you will start to see those invites coming around. Now, what are the requirements? So the requirements are you need to be older than 16. You need to have an IBM Quantum account. If you don't have one already, it is incredibly easy to open that up. So just Google IBM account and follow the steps. Previous applications, we have required that you include your GitHub account name, username. So you may be required to open that up if you do not have one already. And you should also become a member of our Qiskit Slack if you're not already, because you will need to supply your username for that. And then the two big components that make up your application is your community contributions and then also the Qiskit developer certification. So in terms of the community contributions, This can be multiple different ways. There are multiple ways for you to contribute. So you could do open source contributions, so that's on the more technical side, fixing code, fixing bugs, making significant contributions, or you can contribute to the textbook. Again, fixing spelling errors there, helping to develop new material for the textbook and tutorials. You could participate in IBM Quantum and Qiskit events, so our hackathons that happen, our IBM challenges that happen, and you could possibly create a research project, research paper using IBM systems, Qiskit. If you've done an individual project by yourself, that can count as a contribution. Content creation, so if you're creating blog posts, YouTube videos, if you're involved in podcasts, and then also the Qiskit localization contributor. So that's helping to translate our materials and mostly our textbook into other languages. Now, it is important to know that in order to apply, you need to have a minimum of 20 points. And in a moment, I will give you a breakdown of how those points can be calculated. But that is a minimum of 20 points. So it is important to know that you'll probably need to have far more than 20 points to have a competitive application. Now, the Qiskit developer certification, this is also important to have. You need to have completed the exam prior to your application. And this can cost up to $200, but we're very excited to be able to offer you some free vouchers. So if you go to this link, and I will have this up for a while, I will also have this link up in a couple slides time, and we will also supply this link to you in a message through Meetup. So if you don't grab it now, don't worry, we will get it to you later. Now, it is important to understand that this voucher will have a deadline on it. It will have an expiry date on it, and you need to have completed your exam by that expiry date. So you cannot wait until the last day to register your exam unless you're prepared to write your exam on that day. Right, so now going back to the community contributions and having a look at our types of contributions and how many points. Like I said, you need to have a minimum of 20 in order to apply. And on average, our applicants that are admitted to the program have 48 points. So you need to have a significant number of contributions in order to have an application that is likely to be accepted. So looking at the different tiers, we have 4 different tiers of points. Tier 4 gets you between 1 and 4 points. And these are very simple tasks, like fixing a typo in the textbook or a tutorial, answering something in Stack Exchange. Tier 3 gets you more points, obviously. And this is now fixing small bugs, creating content, creating simple content, and participating in the quantum events. 8 to 12 points is for tier 2, and that's bigger events. Now you're organizing a hackathon, or you're starting a quantum computer club, or you're creating content that has become really popular. And here you can also see our Qiskit localization contributor. So that is, again, a badge that you can earn if you hit certain levels. And then our highest level, tier 1, that's 12 to 15 points. This is significant contributions. You contribute a chapter in our textbook, or you create a popular tutorial that can be used. Right, so all of your contributions together need to add up to 20 points at minimum. And like we said, our average is 48. So please keep that in mind. So maybe you're not prepared to put in a competitive application this year. That just means you've got a year until to add in additional contributions and have a very competitive application for 2023. Right, so having a look at some of our advocates and how they've contributed. We've got Rached from India, and she worked a lot on the Qiskit textbook as well as Qiskit, so doing some minor bug issues, minor bug fixes. She also did a chapter in the textbook, and she also wrote a blog post for us. Then we've got Leah, who is in the UK, And she did a lot more community organizing. So she organized a seminar course for her undergraduate university students. She organized hackathons with a group. She participated in the Qiskit summer school and organizing virtual meetups for people interested in quantum education. Then Sanjay, who is based in the States, he also recently started the Quantum Grad. So he asked if I would plug that. So please, if you're interested in quantum content, please go have a look at his website. It looks fantastic. But in order to join the quantum program, he did a lot more, bug fixes. He contributed to the textbook. He participated in challenges. He was an active member on Slack. And he was also a mentor for the Qiskit Global Summer School. Now that has a star next to it, because that at the moment is only available to people who are either an IBM employee, which Sanjay is, or to those who are already in the advocate program. Right, so we also need to pass the Qiskit developer certification. If you haven't done this exam yet, you will need to have passed the exam before you can apply. There is a channel in the Qiskit Slack workspace, Qiskit-Cert Exam, where people are preparing for the exams themselves. So what does this exam cover? We've got 60 questions, of which you need to get 44 correct. You have 90 minutes to do so. It is completed in English. There is a free sample test, and there's also an optional online prep test, which does cost you $30. Like I said, this is optional. It is not important to us. It is merely a tool for you to use in your prep if you so wish. Now, it is done through the Pearson VUE system, and this means you can go to a test center in person if you are lucky enough to have one near you, or you can do that online. I have written exams through Pearson VUE. They watch you through your camera. They make sure you can't have any other systems open. You can't have any browsers open at the same time. And the one restriction there is you can only do this, you can only download the software onto a Windows or Mac OS. If you are working with a machine with a firewall, so if you're working with your work computer, you may have issues with that. You are able to test your computer on the Pearson VUE system, just so that you know before you book a test, before you start your test, that your machine will work. So unfortunately, no Linux machines. You will need to borrow a machine if that is yours. Like we've discussed, it costs up to $200 for this exam. But this exam, if you're doing it for the Qiskit Advocate Program, this is the same link as before. And please click the link, grab a voucher, make sure you have set up an exam date for before the expiry date, and enjoy your opportunity for a free exam. So the exam covers a lot of the Qiskit SDK, single qubit gates, multi-qubit gates, mostly chapter 1 and chapter 2 of the Qiskit textbook. There is quite a bit online, blog posts online covering this exam. Okay, so our application timeline, of course, these dates may change, so please keep that in mind, but you should be pretty confident at this stage that these are the dates that will be of importance. So if you haven't started your Qiskit contributions, you need to start those now. It's probably too late if you are wanting to apply for this year's program, but it is definitely not too late if you are hoping to apply for 2023. Of course, the Qiskit Developer Certification Test, that needs to be completed before the application period closes, and the application period is open from the 1st of June to the 1st of July. So if you're interested in applying, make sure your application is done, click submit before that 1st of July date. Of course, if you miss this date, it does mean waiting another full year until you can apply again. And then in terms of the application review, as soon as the applications start coming in, we will start, we've got a human team reviewing each and every application. So keep that in mind. This isn't computer, this isn't automated. There are humans behind these submit buttons who are going to review your application. And that review process, we're planning for that to take up until the 15th of July with emails going out on the 1st of August to give you your answer to let you know if you've made it into the program. Now, what I'm planning to do, because I myself am not an advocate yet, and I am hoping to be able to apply in 2023, but I know I'm a massive procrastinator. So I have come up with this idea of hosting an Aspiring Advocates peer support and mentoring group. So we will meet once a month. The plan at the moment is the second Tuesday of each month. This will give us some casual accountability. So meet the group, say that, oh, I'm planning on writing a blog post, and I know if I'm meeting the group next month, then I will be more likely to actually sit down and get that done, as opposed to just being accountable to myself. So very, very casual. No one's going to get into trouble if you don't actually sit down and write that blog post, but we can, as a group, work together, support one another, mentor one another. Now, the content, the sessions will be group driven. So if the group decides they would like to have a GitHub technical session, then I can reach out to my IBM colleagues and have someone come in and explain to us how GitHub works, how Git works, how you can help and contribute to the Qiskit code, to the textbook using Git and using GitHub. You might reach out to a fellow colleague, fellow peer, to find someone who can help you with your blog. So maybe they can proofread it before you submit it. Maybe you want to join or start a Qiskit developer exam prep study group. All of this can be done through the networking of this group. So the first session I am planning for Tuesday next week. So that'll be 6 p.m. South African time. I've got a few other time zones there if that maybe helps you assess. And then also, depending on how many people are interested, I might split that up into 2 groups and have one in Tuesday morning South African time. So that'll be early evening in Asia and in the Eastern Hemisphere, and one in the South African evening, as this one is, which will probably suit the Western Hemisphere time zones a bit better. So we will see, again, like I said, this is group driven, and we will see what the group wants and needs. Right, so I'm going to pass over to Junye. Wait, actually before that, Junye, are there any questions that we can tackle now?
So many questions. Yeah, thank you very much for all the questions. I think they are all very relevant. So I think we can go through them.
Yes.
Let me see. So I answered a few, but let me just say a few things. And Gemma and Sahar, if you know the answer, you can also answer it. So let me see. When and where will this recording be published? So I already answered. The recording will be shared in the Qiskit application channel, in the Qiskit Slack workspace. And I also understand that many of you may know this event on LinkedIn or other places that you may not be in Qiskit Slack workspace. So I also share the link to join the Qiskit Slack workspace and the link to join this specific channel. So you should be able to find in the chat. And then there was some people asking for the points, but later on, I think Gemma, you talk about the slide, and then that was all clear. So all the contributions are rated by points and tiers, and you can refer them. We have an application guide which we will share at the end, so that you can see all the content will be there, and also the slide will be shared afterwards, so you can refer to it later. Okay, there's a question about, can students under the age of 16 apply for Qiskit developer certification? This I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer to that. That's a good question.
Yeah, so
I haven't seen any age restrictions around that.
So we probably have to check and then let you know. But please join the application channel, and then we can answer you there. But yes, for the advocate application itself, is required to be 16. So that is for sure. If you are younger than 16, you can still make a lot of contribution, I think. I think the IBM Quantum itself, the platform, requires 14 years old if you sign our account and join our event. So that would be the minimum age we can really engage with you. So if you're really young and enthusiastic, you can join our events and learn more and contribute. And when you're old enough, you can apply for this advocate program. I would be really happy that you join it as young as 16.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one question about do I have to create content for Qiskit, or is it okay if I create content for quantum computing in general? Maybe Gemma, you can answer this.
So you will be a Qiskit advocate. So, there is flexibility in that. Obviously, organizing a quantum computing event or talk, you do want to have some sort of aspect of Qiskit involved. But not everything is always going to be about Qiskit. But at the end of the day, you do need to know Qiskit because you need to pass the developer certification exam, and you will be labeled as a Qiskit advocate. So do keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's right. And then DT asked, will participate in IBM Quantum Summer Schools count towards getting points? So yes, so participating in our events and also to get the badges that for all these events, usually we have badge when you complete the courses or you join the IBM Quantum Challenge, you complete a certain number of exercises, you get badge and have different levels, and so they all count towards different points, which I think I also wrote it down in the application guide. So we can share the link to the application guide. Or if you Google Qiskit Advocate application guide, I think you should be able to find it.
Usually is, yeah, quite high up in the results there.
Yeah. There's one question about is the developer certification exam independent of the advocate program?
Yeah,
so
that is separate. Obviously, both have been created by IBM and are run by IBM. The certification program is taken through Pearson VUE, which is a separate organization to IBM. So we basically give them the exam and they implement it, and then they tell us who has passed. So connected, and that there are people working behind the scenes overlapping, but you can take the exam without ever intending to join the advocate program.
So as one of the side effects of joining the advocate program, you can become a certified Qiskit developer. You can see it in this way. So I give you some historical context. So this developer certification was only introduced last year, and only in last year for the advocate program we use this. So before that, we have some handmade exercise, and that was based on Jupyter Notebook. But obviously, nothing is better than like a more official certification, because you proctor, you have time limits, and all the questions are well crafted and looked through by experts. So that's why we decided to use this as the test for the advocate. It's also much more official. So even if you didn't get into the advocate program, that would be something I got out of it, because we do hand out the vouchers for you to take the test. So that would be good.
Yeah, and passing that exam, you do get a badge that you'll be able to display on your LinkedIn and brag about on Twitter.
Yes. Okay, let's carry on. So one question, do past challenges count in this count? Yes. So I don't remember exactly the number of years. I think usually I count from 2 years, most of contribution, but maybe there's no really need a very strict timeline here. So if you join any IBM quantum challenges or events in the past, that should be okay. And then move on. Can I get the survey questions again? I don't know whether that
I have a few questions sitting in the Q&A, but I think for now we can pause them. So I don't know, Junye, if you want to display the slides that you had.
let's see. Let me see. Quite a lot. I think maybe we can go to the end of these questions, and then I think those are more important than my slide itself. So depending on that, we still have half an hour. Maybe you can get
We
to
do
the
have
end
time,
of that.
yes.
Yeah. So let me see. Yeah, so quantum challenges and summer school counts if you get the badges.
Is that
so someone mentioned that? No, it's just a comment.
Okay.
So someone mentioned that the developer certification can be done in the library. So that is true. So you can do it at home or anywhere that is quiet, or you could go to test centers. That is some dedicated test centers depending on your location. When you, I think when you actually take the test, there's options to choose the location.
Yeah, have a look at the Pearson VUE website. They've got a lot of information and FAQs around taking exams on their system. Pretty much the whole website is dedicated to people taking exams. So that's what they do. So they can answer all their questions probably a lot more concise and accurately than we can. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's follow up in the question. So we can answer another few maybe in between.
Okay. So shall I pull some from the Q&A?
Oh, thank you for all the questions.
Yeah, so many questions. It's great.
Yeah,
So
sure.
from the Q&A, I have a question from DM, and he's asked that I'm assuming, okay, so DM has said that they've contributed a cheat sheet in one of the text sections. Can this be considered as a contribution? They have a GitHub repo for this cheat sheet. So Junye, would that be a contribution that would count towards an application?
Sounds like something. So
yeah.
maybe I should say the guiding principle of what counts as a contribution, because the example we listed are finite. So I think maybe a way to guide you what you think would be. So I think anything that, so maybe I'll say, take a step. What Qiskit Advocate Program is about is really trying to grow the community, and the Qiskit Advocates should be the people we call super fans, like people that really love Qiskit, love quantum computing, and like to spread the love of Qiskit and quantum computing to other people. So I think whatever that you do that helps to achieve this, to help more people to learn Qiskit, help people to learn quantum computing, whether by creating more educational tutorial, writing a blog, starting a club to teach people, starting a study session. So all these things, we will look at it and we'll count. So we can see a lot of example in the guide, but obviously it will be finite and cannot cover all possibility. So in this example, creating a cheat sheet, and I think also importantly is that you create content and also have an intention to share with more people.
Yes.
Actively sharing, putting on GitHub is good.
Yeah.
And then maybe even share on Qiskit Slack, let other people know. So the more people know about what you do, the more impact you do, and then we will also look at all these factors.
Yeah. So DM also asked that they put together Jupyter notebooks for each section of the certification exam, and he's got the link there, sharing it to the Slack channel. So that's perfect. Sharing that link, showing that you've shared this to the community. You haven't made a GitHub repo for yourself and no one knows it exists. That is ideal. That's exactly what the team is hoping to see. Fantastic. And Bank asks, could we share the voucher for the developer certification with their friends, or is it just for the people in this session? So that link is publicly available. It is on the Qiskit Advocate repo. So as far as I see, you can share that with your friends, Junye?
Yes. So in fact, this link is also not specific to Qiskit Advocate application. So it's actually also available in our channel when we do exams. Of course, there's a rule of thumb that you can only take once. We do check the names when you apply, and then we won't. So we try to we really want people to get it and then to take the exam and to actually try it. So of course you can share with your friends and encourage your friend to pass the test, maybe study together.
And there is an expiry on that voucher. So if you're going to take it, make sure you're in a position where you're almost ready for the exam, so you can schedule it and get it done. And also the link won't be available forever. So the link is also only open for a period of time. I don't think we've determined how long that will be open for. So just be aware that the link will eventually be deactivated at some point, and if you do receive a voucher, that there is an expiry date on that voucher. So please try and get it.
But we can say for sure that until 1st of July, we should be able to do that.
Cool. Okay, so that is it. Yusuf also asks how to apply to become a Qiskit advocate. Yusuf seems to already have the Qiskit certificate. So I think we're answering that question now. Yusuf, if you've got any additional questions, please reach out to me. I'll share with everyone in the meetup group. We will share the link to the GitHub repo where we discuss the details and the details of what we shared today. So I think, Junye, if you want to take over sharing, you have some wonderful slides.
Yes, thank you. So if you have more questions about the application, you can still keep into the chat and we'll answer it later. But now let me spend like a few minutes to share about the Qiskit Advocate Mentorship Program. Yes. I think, Gemma, you need to give me, it says that you have to close the poll and then make my
yes, that is correct.
presenter.
I will do that now. Okay.
Thank you.
Just giving everyone a last chance to finish up the poll. There were some in progress.
Okay, great. Can you all see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, great. So really won't spend too much time. So I'm going to give you a deeper look of what you can get out of the Qiskit Advocate program. So one of the core offering we have is a mentorship program. So what is this Qiskit Advocate Mentorship Program, or for short, CAMP? So it's a program we focus on bringing the Qiskit Advocate to become new contributors to our Qiskit open source software. Qiskit, as you know, is open source and all the source code is on GitHub, and anyone can make a pull request and make changes to the source code. So we want to really train the Qiskit Advocate to become open source contributor to Qiskit. And to do that, we pair them with mentors who are IBMers that are developer researchers, and also be other Qiskit advocates that are not IBMer, but they are researchers or they're also working in the industry. So by doing that, we really guide the advocate to become open source contributor, but also at the same time to grow them as either quantum developer or quantum researcher. So that is really what this program is about. And we started running this program only very recently, spring 2021. So we have run twice so far, and one is happening now. So for the last two, one spring 21 and fall 21, we have seen really great outcomes. We have many applicants, and together we have like over 100 mentees, and all of them for the last two rounds made over like 80 pull requests, which is quite a significant number to Qiskit. And we grow 22 new contributors. So some of the advocates already contributed before, because as you apply for the application, you might already have done it. But 22 of them were never contributed to Qiskit. So we're very happy that they learn how to do that and also learn how to do the whole work for open source contribution so they can make further contribution in the future. And then they also have blogs coming out, writing about projects. And some of these blogs are also highlighted in Qiskit Medium blog. And we even have a one preprint paper on arXiv about a new software package coming out from this mentorship program, which is really awesome. But what makes me even happier are the great feedbacks. So we do surveys after these programs, and we really get very high satisfaction rates from the both two runs. And also many of the mentor and mentee continue to work together even beyond the mentorship program. So which really show that we form these meaningful connections. And then so we help them even after the program, they work together and make even more contribution, do more code contribution to Qiskit. So here just a few highlights of the projects was done in these two cohorts of mentorship program. I'm not going to go too deep detail, but I can show you like there's a variety of different kinds of projects they work on. For example, this is called RedWorkX. It's a project that rewrites a very popular networking software in Python called NetworkX and rewrote it in Rust. And the reason for that is that when in Qiskit, we have a lot of function require these graphing things, for example, quantum circuit when you do transpiling. And by rewriting it from Python to Rust is speed up to 10 times or 100 times. So this was a project that created by one of our Qiskit co-developer, but through this project, they have a few mentees, and they make a lot of contributions into this. And together, some of these mentees even become co-contributor and maintainer of this project. And it's this project that at the end published a paper of this software package, and also is published in the journal for open source software. So that's a very deep dive on this project, because it's my favorite, and I think it's the most impressive project. But you can see that there's co-projects like Rached. There's project that is directly contributing to Qiskit. So these are arithmetic circuit library in Qiskitera. But there's also research type paper that trying to reproduce research done by Qiskit, or you're trying to use Qiskit to do research on using the IBM quantum systems. Or it could be some that more like for creating Qiskit tutorials or Qiskit textbook chapters, using Qiskit to create more content to teach people how to use certain algorithms or certain part of Qiskit. So these are another 4 projects in the second cohort of the mentorship program. So again, there will be some projects that is software but built on top of Qiskit, like this Qiskit transpiler, and also a Qiskit error correction package that is to do error correction with Qiskit, and an additional package that is outside Qiskit. And also there's algorithm development that is on Qiskit nature. But the last but not least, there's also some more fun projects like arts or games. So just to show you a variety of things that you could do in the mentorship program after you become a Qiskit advocate. So here is a timeline of showing a typical mentorship program. And this timeline is for the currently running spring 22. So usually it lasts for 3 months. And in each month you have some checkpoints. And each checkpoint you do something like presentation, a written report, and then a final presentation. So if you become a Qiskit advocate, so as Gemma showed you that the application will end in July 1st, and then we will review, and you will become a Qiskit advocate in August. And then we will run a next round of mentorship program starting in September. So all the best to you for your application, and I hope that you can join the advocate program and join the mentorship program after you join. So that's all I have for today. So if you have any questions about this, please ask in the chat and I will be happy to answer. Okay. Is there any mentorship specific? If there's not, I think we should probably go to Sahar for her to share more experience, and then we collect all the questions at the end, we answer all of them.
I think that's perfect, yes. So I'm going to make Sahar a presenter. Junye, I don't know if this is going to kick you off as co-host. There we go. Hi.
Okay,
So
hi.
everyone, welcome Sahar. An advocate, as I said earlier. She is based in Tunisia, and she joined the program last year in 2021.
Thank you, Gemma. Hi, Junye and everyone. And Ramadan Kareem if you are celebrating. So to present myself, I'm Sahar Rached. I'm from Tunisia and currently based in Tunisia. I graduated with a master's in nanophysics and nanotechnology, and I specialize in quantum computing, especially working on superconducting quantum qubits. And I am the co-founder and local coordinator of Q Tunisia, which is a quantum computing community that we started since September 2020. And we are focusing on organizing workshops and events that would raise awareness about quantum technologies in general, but focusing on quantum computing, and also organizing workshops to teach everyone who is interested in quantum computing about quantum programming and also quantum information science. So I'm joining you next to Gemma and Junye to share my experience about how I joined the Qiskit Advocate program. I joined in September in 2021, so the latest cohort. And hopefully this will help you on your journey to also join Qiskit Advocate, and we will see you with us in a few months. Okay? So starting from the very beginning, I heard about the Qiskit Advocate program during my participation in the Qiskit camp in Johannesburg in 2019. And I only got to join in September 2021. So it was quite a process. and to tell you that it takes some time, and also it takes many contributions, I would say, in order to have a competitive application and to join this amazing network. So hopefully by sharing with you which contributions I did and how much time it took me, it will give you a perspective of how much you'd need in terms of time and contributions in order to also join the program. So when I heard first heard about it in December 2019, I took also the time to understand more of quantum computing, to know whether this is really interesting for me or not, because it's a complicated science up to an extent, and it's also not very widely used. So I would say it's a niche community. So you should test whether, if you are new, of course, you should test whether this is a cool place for you or not. But if it is, then great, welcome. And if it is not, then that's totally fine. There's a lot of technologies to explore, and there's a lot to do, and there is a lot to contribute to besides quantum computing. So after that, I took the time to learn. So I took part in events from IBM, be it summer schools or even the challenges. But also the Qiskit textbook was one of the main resources I used in order to learn about quantum computing and quantum programming. And that gave me, I would say, a knowledge that I was very excited to share. So the first thing, I would say the first contributions I started with were community building. So I started Q Tunisia, which is an affiliation of an international network, but you can also start from your own network or your own community. I would say your university or your own science club or your science association. Maybe you can start a branch that's focused on quantum computing, or you can always start your own thing. Okay, you can launch your own club or even your own network within your university or your school. And that would give you, I would say, the ability to have an impactful contribution. You are sharing what you have learned. It doesn't have to be advanced knowledge. You can just share what you already learned, okay? So you can, of course, share it with the basics of quantum computing. That's always something interesting to start with. Or you can just even start with a presentation about quantum computing and technologies in general, and invite experts within your own community in order to share their knowledge and their expertise. I think this is a very good starting point for you. And that's also how I started. It was mainly events where we would invite experts to talk about their own work and contributions, but we also were doing workshops where we would teach everyone who is interested in quantum computing about the basics of the technology. And during my studies, because I did physics, so it was quite natural for me to navigate towards the hardware of quantum technologies, but also very accessible to work on hardware and software. It depends on your background or depends on your interests. Okay, so there's no wrong or right answer to this. I cannot recommend hardware or software. It really depends on your background or your interests. And you can, of course, orient your internships towards quantum computing. I wouldn't say Qiskit exclusively, but quantum computing in general, okay? For myself, since I was more familiar with Qiskit, then all of my projects I worked on were in Qiskit, and they would count as a contribution later on. Okay, so my first internship, it was on quantum chemistry. And by the end of the internship, I successfully had a tutorial that I can share with everyone about quantum chemistry and developing the tutorial using Qiskit. But also for my master thesis, I had the opportunity to work on integrating Qiskit with a hardware provider from university in Germany, and that also counted as a contribution to Qiskit. Okay, so you can always orient, I would say, your studies or your internships towards quantum computing, and they would also be valuable contributions that you can add for your application to Qiskit. Something else I would say, if you are, for example, interested in teaching, or if you have the aspirations to become a professor maybe, then most of the valuable contributions in Qiskit Advocate program were about voluntarily teaching what you know. So I would always insist on trying to start a community within your own university or your own local network and scale from that. Okay, it's always very good to start with sharing what you already know and invite experts to always share what they already know. And with that, you can, of course, learn yourself and also help everyone else around you to learn more about this technology. So also participation in events. The good thing is that there are some flagship events now with IBM or other, I would say, companies or institutes that have become frequent. Okay, so we have the IBM challenges, we have the summer school from IBM, and we also have hackathons going around the year. Most of them were online during the past 2 years, so they were more accessible, but things may change starting from this point. I cannot be sure about that, hopefully not, because hosting online events made it really go viral, I would say, for the quantum computing. It was very, very helpful to extend the community around the world, and I really hope to see that going on for the next years, because going back exclusively to on-site events would be very restricting in terms of participation. So let's take the opportunity also to take advantage of the online events and hackathons in order to, first of all, build our skills and also count that as a contribution that you may add to your Qiskit Advocate Program application. So this I would say about the contributions. So personally, I had 17 contributions by the time I applied to Qiskit Advocate. They were very diverse. So I had from teaching to building my own projects, but also attending events. I'm not sure how many points that counted to. I did not do the math, but I would say that even though the minimum is 20 points, that does not guarantee that you will be having a competitive application. So aim for more than 3 contributions or to 20 points. Okay, so really aim to, first of all, show that you are really interested in quantum computing, show that you are ready to share your experiences and your knowledge, and also presenting let's say proof of your skills, or what shows that you have come a long way since starting quantum computing. I would say those are the points that you should highlight in your application. Of course, with the form that you will be filling, and also with the contributions that you will be making. Try to enjoy it because it shows in your application that you are interested in this and you are doing it for quantum computing and the science itself and your own personal interest, than just applying to join the advocate program. Okay, so this is definitely a very big step in your path in quantum computing, but it should not be your end goal. Okay, set it as a goal to be an advocate, but that does not mean that it is your end goal. It goes from there. You get access to a new network, to new opportunities. As Junye has already presented the camp, it's really one of the best attributes of the Qiskit Advocate Program. And I personally have, it was one of the motivations why I wanted to join the Advocate Program. It was the camp. Because I personally come from Tunisia. We don't have like giant tech companies, and getting to work with senior experts in quantum computing, it is very rare. So having that opportunity to get in contact with experts from IBM Quantum Network or else, it was very, very valuable for me. So this is not the case for me alone. I'm sure that there are many people are taking advantage of this program or the network itself in order to get in touch and learn from the best in the field, and then advance in their career, if of course that's their objective. As for the test, so I'm done for the contributions. If you still have got any questions, then I would be very happy to answer them. As for the test, so the test will be mainly focusing on Qiskit, I would say. Up to now, there are many resources that you can learn or do your test preparation from. Many people have already shared their own learning resources or tutorials or Jupyter notebooks that they have created throughout the process of preparing for the test. The Qiskit, of course, textbook is a very good resource. The Qiskit tutorials on GitHub, I would say, is the #1 resource you can learn from. That's mostly what I use for the preparation. Now, how much time it would take you to prepare for the test, it really depends on your experience. I personally had been using Qiskit for more than a year by the time I passed for the test, so it was quite easy for me, but it may take you longer if you are not quite familiar with Qiskit. So this is a very varying parameter to answer the question about how much it would take me to, for example, prepare for the test. But I would say for the resources, yes, I would repeat them. So Qiskit textbook, Qiskit tutorials on GitHub, and you can look for the resources that past advocates have shared to the public in order to get a look on how they prepared for the test. That's also a very good strategy. So what else I would add? So yeah, for my personal motivation on why I joined Qiskit Advocate, I would say, like Gemma has already highlighted, the recognition. It's a very good recognition of your skills because they test you, of course, on your technical skills, but also how motivated and committed you are to learning about quantum computing and sharing what you learn, and especially your community engagement. I think that's a very good factor, or that's a very big factor in your application, and it truly shows whether you have been only working for the program application or you would be going beyond that. It also would give an idea to the committee whether you will be an active advocate or not, because there is no termination to your badge, but still, if you are not an active member, then that's a lost opportunity. So show them that you are really motivated and you will be part of this network to grow and to give yourself, of course, other opportunities, but to also to give access to other people to have the same chance to enter the network. One more thing, so the network and the recognition, but also the camp, it's a very good opportunity to advance your skills and to work on impactful projects, because you get all kinds of projects, but they're all contributing to developing quantum computing and Qiskit itself. Okay, so you can depends on your background or your interest. You can work on quantum music. You can work on maybe contributing to modules of application in Qiskit. You can have tutorials and labs. Of course, if you are interested in teaching, so there's always something to do. Depending on what you are interested in, but overall, it's always a very good experience, and there's always an advantage in taking part of such programs. And also, you get to be a mentor in big events. And how cool is that? Okay, so if you are interested mostly in teaching and you want to help people to learn more about quantum computing, then it's a very good opportunity. And of course, you get to help out people to understand more of the technology and to reach their, let's say, goals, to solve certain challenges and be winners of certain hackathons. And that's very impactful work. So I would say that also being part of the mentors as an advocate is a very cool thing. So yeah, I would really encourage you to be part of the program. It depends, of course, on your motivation, but I shared with you my personal motivation to be part of the Advocate program, and especially if you are coming from Africa and the MENA region, I would highly recommend that you start quantum computing and also take part in such large networks. This will be very beneficial to you. It will give you access to opportunities that you may not even have in your countries. And also, it will give you the chance to be leaders of communities and give access to other people to learn more about the quantum computing technology in your own network. And I think that wherever you start from, I start from Tunisia. I don't remember there were many people back then who knew about quantum computing, but now I can see people orienting their whole careers or their whole studies towards quantum computing. And to see yourself being part of that journey or your process is a very great thing, and you can see yourself being proud of what you have achieved so far, and there's always so many things that you can advance on. So yes, hopefully to see many people coming from Africa and the region joining the program this year. We are only two, I guess, from the MENA region or the Arab countries, but I think what whatever you start with, it will always be valuable, and hopefully many people will be convinced of the importance of, let's say, teaching quantum computing in our region and starting from there. Thank you. I hope this was very helpful. And yes, I think I will be happy to answer all your questions if you have.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. There are a few
thank you very much for sharing your
Junye.
experience.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
You.
There are a couple questions I have been answering in the Q&A. Junye, I did assign one to you.
Okay.
And I see there's
so I think we can
one
answer
in the chat
it verbally,
as well.
maybe. Yeah. So we are reaching 1 hour, but I can stay a bit longer. I think we should try to answer as many as possible. And then if we can't answer, maybe we direct everyone to the Qiskit Advocate application channel and to answer all the questions that we will type. Where do we start? I see.
So
I'm really
the one question I
happy that
assigned
so many people
to
asking
you,
questions.
and there's also some similar questions in the chat. Do Qiskit advocates get a chance to work on quantum hardware, or are they limited to the software part?
So they don't limit it. I think you are referring to the mentorship program, right? So there's also some projects that work on more research stuff. As you know, the IBM Quantum putting the hardware on the cloud. So actually, a lot of things that you don't require you to sit next to a quantum computers to do the things. So, and we also have like Qiskit experiments, so Qiskit Pulse, which allow you to really using your laptop and send anything experimental things to them. Of course, if you are thinking about hardware in terms of like making a quantum chip, then yes, we don't have that access. Not even me. So, but if you want to do like hardware level of experiment or research or developing content, we can support it. As long as something that you could access on internet and software, that should be okay. And I think also some people asking about like in terms of contributions, whether Qiskit Metal counts. And definitely Qiskit Metal is part of the Qiskit family. So whatever you do related to Qiskit Metal will be counted towards the application. So I think that's
I answered someone's question saying whatever your strengths and your interests are, as long as you're part of the Qiskit world and the quantum world, then you've got a space in the community.
Yeah, I think I should stress again the thing that I mentioned before, the guiding principle, because the application guide really limited. We cannot really write list everything we count. But I think also what Sahar shared is important. If you're doing this contribution only for the application for sake, and we could see it. If all your activities are really geared towards the application, we could see it. We could see that you are very recent activity or the things that you do are really trying to game the point system. Because as Gemma explained that we will have this review committee to look at all the applications. So then we can see all these things very clearly. If you just started, you may not be able to apply this year if you only started now and you don't even know Qiskit. But doesn't matter. Whatever contribution you do, you can apply for next year. And what matters really is that you are learning new things. You're also meeting more people. And Gemma is going to organize more of these peer support sessions. You're going to meet all the people trying to get into this. Or maybe you pass the developer certification. All these things, it's the journey that matter, not the goal. And even when you reach the advocate, it's never really the end goal. It's just one step in your quantum journey. So I think really you should focus on the what you are doing rather than how many points you get. So the point we listed there just as a guide, but it's not like trying to really evaluate these things and put it into like a very rigid system.
Yeah, so there are two questions that relate to that. So Aditi asks, are there different points for simple and comprehensive projects? Can you give an example of each? And Leonard asks, how can you know how many points a contribution is worth? Because each tier has a range of points. So I think it all boils down to there is a human committee that reviews each application and determines exactly where it lies within the tier and exactly which tier it lies in as well. So yes, it's not as easy as checking a box. Yes, this is comprehensive. Yes, this is simple. So yeah, so putting it in, you need to course, make sure you have a minimum of 20 points. And like we've said before, if you have an application with 20 points, it's probably not going to be enough. Our average is 48. So definitely make sure you've got way more points than needed. And then it doesn't matter if a single contribution is sitting in the lower range, as long as your collective contributions are you know, display your ability to help and work with the community.
Yeah, that's a good point. I probably should emphasize the fact of the human aspect. Like any application, college application, there's a lot of so there's a subjective part of it that the point, if I judge by me or someone else, may not be exact. But there's also a part that we could see really the intention or the details beyond the action that you're doing. If I look at a pull request, I see you corrected a simple typo. That would be very simple. But if you're doing also something similar, correcting things, but I see that you stick to a PR for like a month, there's a lot of back and forth with the core contributor, there's a lot of comments, or even sometimes opening a simple issue, maybe count 1 or 2 points. But if in the issue you give a lot of valuable insights, helping people to fix the issue, all these things will really affect how many points you get. So again, it's not so much about the action you're doing, more like we want to see whether you're willing to help people, willing to teach. I think that's the most important. That's what we want to look for as a Qiskit advocate. So yeah.
John Isaac has also asked, are there a limited number of places for the application this year?
So it's hard to give a number, but generally, so right now we have 321. So each year we look at maybe somewhere around 50 to 100 people. But again, it depends on the point and also depends on like how we feel. So it's not exact, but I think around there. So last year we have 120. The year before we have 100. So each year about 100.
Okay.
But,
so if you have a
it's
good,
not a strict number.
Yeah,
it's not like we have 100 and then we just cut. But we will see like the quality of the application, how many people apply, how many people reach certain standard. So the reason we put like minimum 20 is because some people only make a few and their points is super low, but maybe one of the contributions really stand out. And the guide that we put is one contribution, a maximum 15. Then that's why there's a minimum of 20. Like some people creating a club and then do all kinds of event, all these things as a leader, and this we only give 15 points, but you can clearly see this person is really a star in the region, then that's why. So we put a minimum, but really you should aim for higher if you want to. But also doesn't harm that you just try if you are new. Next year you can see and continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So definitely the support sessions are there for people who are finishing up and getting ready to apply for this year, as well as people who are interested in applying for next year and need to build up their application and their contributions. Yeah, so I think it boils down to if you have a strong application and you're definitely part of the Qiskit Advocate program, the Qiskit community, then there shouldn't be anything wrong. You should expect to see a welcome to the program email. But we're also not going to fill seats just for the point of filling seats.
Yeah, I see a few questions about camp. So the camp is not internship, it's not paid. It's all like open source collaborations, very much like if you're familiar QSF mentorship program. So it's a similar program in the outside IBM. But we do plan to do more things beyond the camp after you join. At the end, you have chances to show things. We can also help you to apply for unitary fund, which can get you some money. But the camp itself doesn't do all this. It's not paid, and it's not open for registration for the fall and spring, and also it's only open for Qiskit Advocate. So you have to first become Qiskit Advocate and then apply for this Qiskit Advocate mentorship program.
Okay, so Leonard also asks, where should I send my application? Is there a website? So the form will be available from the 1st of June. It will be announced on Twitter and in the Slack channel and all over the place. And I will also send to you now the GitHub repo where all the information for the program, as well as all the information that I presented in the session, will be available. So I will link that now.
Yeah, I think for this application purpose, the best is the Qiskit Advocate application channel. Anything you can ask there, you can make sure people share the resources. And so you can make contribution to a test anytime until the deadline. Just make sure that you submit the form before the deadline. And the form only open for 1 month, 1st of June to July 1st.
Yeah, and if you miss the application period this year, you are going to have to wait until 2023 to apply for the program. Okay, and then I've seen this question's been asked a couple times. I'm just going to answer it verbally. So are you able to get the developer badge this year and then apply next year? And that is perfectly fine. Yes, that is my plan personally. You don't need to complete everything in a short period of 6 months. So, you know, look after yourselves, get your exam, start working in the community, and build up when you have time to do so. Okay, I think we kind of finished up on any questions. Of course, the Slack channel remains open. You can post questions there, and between us and others in the community, you should see answers. Junye, Sahar, is there anything else you'd like to say as we finish this up?
I would say that I remain. Sorry, Junye.
You go first.
Thank you. I would like to say that I remain available on Slack if you'd like to connect, and if you have got any questions, then I definitely can answer them, either regarding the test or the application for the camp. Okay, so if there is anything you know that I can help you with, then you are very welcome to ask me.
Hopefully you don't have too many DM. I will encourage everyone to ask in the channel if you want, but of course if you can. So
just
nice
shared
to
that
handle
now.
all this, so great.
Qiskit Advocates application, but I'll also add links in the follow-up message through Meetup that will come later today.
That's great.
Fantastic. And unfortunately, I can't show the poll results. I had promised those, but I'll share something in the Slack channel in a day or two. Great. Okay.
And for the people that want to join the next session on this, there will be a meetup page for them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will be sending that out again today. If you're already a member of the meetup group, you'll get an email saying Gemma has scheduled this event. Feel free to join. And like I said, it's very much casual accountability. No one's going to get into trouble if they don't attend or attend regularly or don't complete what they are wanting to complete in the time between sessions. Great. I will hang on for a few minutes just as everyone starts to sign off and make sure any other chats or questions
messages
can
in the
answer.
chat.
But Junye and Sahar, you are welcome to continue with your days. And everybody else, thank you so much for joining us. It's exciting to see so many people excited. Have a lovely
thank you for organizing this session. Happy to see so many people and so many questions.
So many people. Amazing.
Yeah, if you have any question, the Qiskit Advocate application channel is the best place. We will continue monitoring anything about application, mentorship program, the exam. We can answer you there. Okay.
Fantastic.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.